Hi, this is Ivy from Scrappy Mania, and today I'm going to create another card using some more papers of this My Mind's Eye paper pack called Old Christmas Tree. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the layout that I am going to create. So I want like a coffee mug or cocoa, hot cocoa, whatever. Some kind of embellishment is going to go here, which is I found a coffee mug that I am going to use. I am going to use a scallop circle and a circle. That's going to be placed here. I am going to use a banner and then mat that banner. I'm going to use a ribbon. This is going to be some cardstock. This is another cardstock behind that cardstock. And then I'm just going to I'm going to back this whole panel on a regular 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. And I already did my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card, so it's ready to go. This is the stamp that I'm going to be using. I do not know the name of the stamp because I take my stamps out and I place them in a cardstock, and I have this in a 3-ring binder. So don't know the name of the stamp, but any kind of stamp that you have, either you can use a sleigh, you can use a snowflake. I happen to have this coffee mug, and that's what I want to use. I want to use the coffee mug for this layout. And I am going to be using these washable crayons. We're going to see how this stands up too when I use it to color in my coffee mug. These are the papers that I'm going to use. I have not cut anything down. This is a saying that I'm going to use, warm Christmas wishes, and I think it goes very appropriate with hot cocoa, so that's why I decided to use it. I am going to use a spellbinder die to cut the scallop circle. I don't have the circle. I do not have the spellbinder circle, so I'm going to use this Fiskar cutter, and I'm going to use the circle, and it's actually the one in the middle. This is the 2-inch circle that I'm planning to use for this. And then I'm going to use my oval to cut out that Christmas card, this Christmas saying in the middle. Another thing that I am going to be using, aside from all my stamps and my die cut, is this ribbon. And this is by Die Cut with a View. It's Holly Joy. I bought this some time ago. It's actually adhesive ribbon, and I think this green would go very nicely against the red background. So let me go ahead and get started. So I cut a strip, it's 1 1/2 and that's going to be part of my banner. And then after I did that, I went ahead and found my saying, and I'm going to stamp the saying with using Baroque Burgundy. Now my first attempt, it didn't come out very well. It wasn't, I didn't really make sure that the stamp had enough ink. So then my second pass, it did do a little better, but it looks like I'm going to really have to put some more ink in this ink pad. And that's one thing I like to do, is to, when I buy my ink pads, I like to buy the re-inker because I know I'm going to run out of ink, and the re-inker helps keep my stamps juicy, or my ink pack juicy. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that for when you're using the Fiskar cutters, you got to make sure that you can read the word Fiskar. Otherwise, it will not cut well. I made a mistake when I first bought those templates. I cut the template upside down, and I was having issues, and it was because I wasn't making sure to read the word Fiskar when I lay it down on my paper. So I'm ready to stamp my mug, and I pulled out my watercolor paper and also my StazOn, because I want to make sure that the ink does not blur while I'm doing this. And then I pulled out my Crayola washable crayons, and I'm lightly putting some color around the edges, and then I'm going with it with a paintbrush and some water and going over the project. And you're not going to get a real intense color like you would if these were artistic grade watercolor crayons, but it's good enough. I mean, I do like how it looks, and for the price, you can't beat it. So in a moment, I'm going to give you a closer look at the mug and see how it does give it a nice little shade. It's these Crayola water washable crayons, and they're pretty economical, so I think I like that. I like these crayons. So I cut the mug off camera, and I'm just finishing up a little bit the inside of the handle. So I'm ready to cut my panels, as you're going to see in a little bit. So that white and that cream color panel, the one that I have right now, I actually cut that 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and I'm just making sure that I'm measuring it correctly, and I needed to kind of sniff off a little bit. Then the green one, that's going to be the base. One of the base of the panel is going to be 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So it's 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 for the green. And then the cream color with the those little hollies it's 4 by 5 1/4. And then I'm not really measuring that well. I know that red strip is actually 1 inch. That red strip is 1 inch, but I just kind of guesstimate on the size. And then this also I did the same thing with the banner. The banner there is actually 1 1/2 inches wide, and I'm just kind of estimating how much I have to cut of the red paper so I can back my banner with the red paper. Because what I wanted to do is give it a little bit of a matte that coordinates with the band on top. And I needed to sniff a little bit more because it just didn't look, it looked like it was a little wider one end than the other end. So now I'm ready to cut my scallop, and I'm using this magnetic plate from Sizzix, and I do love my magnetic platform. It really keeps everything down. I really love that, and I got that for one of my hauls for my birthday in November. Now I'm gonna cut the circle. So I'm trying to decide which circle I want to cut, and again I'm using the Fisker cutter, and that circle, which is actually I believe 1 1/2 inches, is just too small. So then I decided to cut another circle, and that one is 2 inches, and that to me was perfect. I didn't really want to see a lot of the red scallop. I just wanted to see a faint outline of it on my project, but not really a thick outline. So I wanted to put the coffee mug to have a little bit of depth. So that's why I decided to put some of the foam adhesive. And this is the first time I used this ribbon. I really like this ribbon. It already comes with adhesive, and it's a die cut wood ribbon. And believe it or not, I bought that ribbon about 4 years ago. So, this is the first time I use it. So as you can see, we tend to accumulate, or at least I tend to accumulate a lot of scrapbook items. And now I'm starting to use them more for my projects. So as you can see, the saying that says warm wishes, I kind of put that saying a little more. It's not perfectly within the panel. It is kind of coming out off a little bit on that panel, and I did it on purpose because that way it will also, the little side of that saying will touch the green panel underneath, and I thought it will give it a little more interest if I did that. It's not really, the saying is not really with all of it, it's hanging off a little bit on that first panel. So now that I have everything together, I am going to place it on my card, and it was very simple to do. And I'm always not cutting these cards 100% perfect, so that's why I had to trim off a little bit. I was gonna put a bow here, right on top of here, but I think if I put a bow right now, it's just gonna distract. It's just too much on this area. I think by eliminating the bow and just keeping it this way, it looks good. But here's the sketch of the layout, and here's actually the layout. So there's my other Christmas card. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and thank you for watching. Bye now.